Climate change is a major problem in the United States. Major causes of this include the release of greenhouse gases from factories as well as exhaust from cars. In addition, with the growing population and the growing number of drivers, climate change is set to become worse. This problem was accelerated during the Industrial Revolution with the emission of pollutants in the air. Since then, the global temperature has risen by 2 degrees and the ocean has warmed up by 0.3 degrees Fahrenheit. Even worse, sea levels have risen about 8 inches in the past 100 years. This year, coastal cities such as southern Texas and Puerto Rico have been affected by major hurricanes accelerated by the energy from the rising ocean temperatures. Furthermore, low elevation areas may be affected with rising sea levels. A majority of American citizens acknowledge that climate change is a legitimate issue and must be addressed. However, though they believe it will affect Americans, they do not believe that climate change will affect them individually. Most also advocate for climate change policies as long as it does not cost more for themselves, reflecting that they are more economically driven. Democrats actively believe that climate change must be halted, while opinions are more varied in the Republican Party, from confirming it as an issue to denying it completely. The primary argument on one side of the issue is that there is not enough evidence to conclude that the climate change is a result of man-made things. They believe that the Earth warming up is a natural cycle and will cool itself down after a time. On the other hand, carbon dioxide trapped within the Earth's atmosphere is linked to the cause of the Earth to heat up. The carbon dioxide comes from man-made emissions heating the Earth up and may bring more hurricanes and bigger storms in the Atlantic Ocean. In order to improve the current climate change situation, the issue must be tackled at a national level. The main causes of climate change: human-produced greenhouse gas emissions and wastage of energy, which both happen primarily in the urban parts of America. To promote a green nation, we have to promote green companies and industries. We believe a possible solution to climate change is the creation of a new bill that calls for new codes and buildings that will demand the building to run on a certain amount of clean energy and eco-friendly practices. While there is a version of this that already exists, our solution is more practical, as it factors in the amount that the company already saves and is formed to push companies to generate their own solutions, which will help urban areas and green innovation as a whole. The amount of clean energy that it should require to be run will be calculated and will be a proportion of the amount of non-renewable energy the building uses. This proportion might vary depending on company to company or state to state, which is why we plan to keep the amount of clean energy used and the execution of eco-friendly practices more fluid and dependent on percentages. As an incentive to encourage industries to follow this legislation, we plan to include minor tax cuts for the companies so they can save on expense and increase profit. This system will also encourage companies to develop affordable ways to save energy and execute green techniques in the office that workers can take and execute at home. In order for our solution to be successful, we would need policy change at the national level or perhaps state level for accommodations to impact the different industries and companies in the United States. A bill would need to be passed, or possibly an executive order, in order to completely implement the solution. Because the solution targets cities and urban areas, the national government would be responsible for passing legislation, while the city and state governments would be responsible for regulating the energy-efficient progress of these companies. This solution would be funded by the individual companies participating in the legislation. As aforementioned, having companies fund their own green processes would encourage them to develop new and affordable ways to save on being green, including ways to not waste fossil fuels that are cheaper than before to maximize profit. This is the best solution to the problem because it not only encourages saving energy on the large scale with something everyone wants less of, taxes, but also creates cities that are greener and ideas that can inspire future affordable change. Some alternate solutions to our problem is to reduce transportation, which does work, but does not provide the impact we seek to make, and the fact that in some places in the United States, transportation is an absolute necessity, or to consume less and buy less, which is a hard to implement solution that might also aid in greatly changing our economy for the worse. In comparison, our solution is more practical and applies to urban settings, which contribute the most to global warming and climate change, and pushes big companies to innovate new green ideas and change the working environment into one that uses clean energy.
Created using Powtoon.